Welcome to the Driven Stone Podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle!
Hey, man.
We are together again.
Yeah. You were using your sultry voice there.
I was a little bit.
Yeah, a little smooth jazz.
Oh, yeah. The intro on our end was super loud. I don't know why.
It was bumping. And then you just came in real docile.
Easy. Yeah. No one else is going to hear it that way.
Yeah.
Like in the edit, the intro starts like at a good volume. But yeah. Hello.
You just eased into it.
Here on DNS at 101.4.
Ooh.
Yeah. Some smooth jazz.
With the ladies, man.
Yeah. Hey, did you see the Beavis and Butthead skit on SNL?
I still haven't watched it.
Dude, are you serious?
I see it everywhere, but I haven't actually watched the thing.
So I am a big fan of SNL, but I'm not a big fan of watching SNL.
Sure.
Like I've never stayed up on a Saturday night to watch SNL.
I did in the 90s.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Like early 2000s, like during the Will Ferrell. Yeah, Will
the World's Ferrell?
Will Ferrell, right?
Yeah.
Not what's the other Ferrell?
Colin,
yeah. Yeah, during the Will Ferrell, Tim Meadows, Ladies Man,
yeah,
Cherry O'Terry, during that whole run.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to watch it
Jimmy
every
Fallon
Saturday
was in that
night.
too, right? That was late. No, Jimmy Fallon was more early.
He came in towards the end of it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I used to love it.
Yeah, see, I
love it.
Obviously, before YouTube, I would never like stay up to watch it, and like somehow, you'd see like clips here and there on not reruns necessarily, but I actually don't remember how we saw clips.
Well, I mean, I think stuff would obviously be popular, like when the cowbell.
Yeah,
when cowbell happened, it was so funny, and everybody, that it became iconic immediately.
Yeah, but
I think it must have been just shared enough on like Entertainment Tonight,
sure,
or like just those kinds of,
or like maybe it was segments within songs on like MTV or something. Like somehow you would see that kind of thing. I don't really remember.
Yeah, me neither.
But I never watched SNL. Like I don't think I've ever seen a full episode of SNL ever.
LimeWire, Napster,
probably
share them on
somehow. Especially with the advent of YouTube, I always, especially now, see clips after the episodes of SNL.
Right.
Especially if they're like funny clips.
Yeah.
Have you seen the ones with Timothy Chalamet where he's like the rapper?
Drip, drip, water, drip, drip, water, drip. Yeah.
So stupid, but like it makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the Beavis and Butthead one with
Ryan.
Ryan Gosling. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So go watch it.
Highly rated.
Yeah. I'll wait right now.
Okay.
What I like about it is it's not culturally relevant because obviously they're talking about Beavis and Butthead that is like 30 years old at this point.
Right.
And obviously it's playing to a certain person who's watching SNL, but it's the fact that like you have all of these actors and comedians who are very clearly like they're good at this and they still lose.
Right.
And I mean, Ryan Gosling is like trying to keep it together and can like just barely.
Yeah. The fact that they clearly didn't do a dress rehearsal to see how much they were going to look like.
Exactly.
Pretty great.
Yeah, it's pretty great. But all that aside,
yeah.
You want to drink something?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a fairly special bottle for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a bottle that I didn't buy in Maine.
Well, there you go.
I know. We said this a couple weeks ago where we did the Bookers,
right.
That we were going to buy a particular bottle in Maine.
The little book.
What?
Bookers is the other one.
Oh,
we did
a little book. See, I get it confused. So we went to buy this bottle is what I'm trying to say.
We went to buy Octomore.
Really?
Yeah. When we got there, you told me that they had an Octomore for like $200, and I was like, let's go get it. And they didn't have it.
Was it the I thought it was this.
Mm-mm.
Maybe
No, it was Octomore.
Oh.
Because I had just seen an Octomore.
This was still there. This was there, and I chose not to
Might have
buy
been.
it. Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember that.
You're right. You're totally. I was thinking this because I was thinking of getting this.
Yeah, I was like debating going and buying an Octomore that I had seen somewhere else, and then you said they got it for like $200, and I was like, done.
Yeah.
And then we farted around and didn't get over there in time.
But we got a little book.
We got a little book.
Yeah.
And it's a little great.
It is a little great. So this is a bottle that I've been eyeing for quite some time, or at least been seeking. I haven't been eyeing it because I haven't been able to find it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think after our recent endeavors into this distillery, I think we've been itching to try just about whatever we can get our hands on.
Yeah, and so what we're talking about is the Ardbeg Heavy Vapours.
Heavy Vapours.
Heavy Vapours. Heavy
Vapours.
Yeah. Look at this box, man. Isn't this a fun box?
Yeah.
It's got like, Ardbeg, when they do these special releases, it's always like a fun, cartoony kind of character.
Yeah.
This has got like a little smoke monster on the front.
Yeah.
He's got some smoky hands on the side, taking over the distillery on the back.
Yeah.
Got a little pot still on the side. Man, it's a fun bottle.
Yeah.
It's a fun
box. Is it all textured?
Oh yeah.
Too?
The whole thing's textured.
Man.
Yeah.
Like that box alone is like $20.
Oh, it's probably
printing costs just for the box.
Yeah, exactly. This was a fairly pricey bottle because it's a special release. It is difficult to find. So this is the special release for the Festival 2023. The Festival is the big Islay whiskey festival that happens in early June. I feel like it's early June. May or June, I can't remember which. But it celebrates all of the Islay distilleries. In fact, like when I was booking stuff going to Islay in June, there was like a huge warning of be aware, all the ferries to Islay are all jacked up because of Festival. I was like, okay.
Right.
But we're not going in early June, or whenever it actually is. So not a big deal. But like I said, I've been seeking this bottle for quite some time because I am an Ardbeg fan.
Yeah, samesies.
And being that this is a special release, when you flip open the canister, or we flip open the box here, this is an Ardbeg special committee release.
There you go.
On the inside, look at even on the inside of the lid of the box, man. Like it's textured even on the inside.
Like I took some printmaking courses in college and taught printmaking for a while.
Yeah.
I have visited some like main like big time printers. And like I know like what that kind of stuff costs.
Yeah.
And like I mean it's incredible. It's amazing like craftsmanship and stuff like that. But like man,
to like literally
so much work put into just the box. It's incredible.
Just the box is super textured. So on the inside they have Shorty, which I'm assuming that Shorty is the distillery dog, maybe.
Little mascot.
It says Shorty, the peatiest nose on Islay, apart from Ardbeg. That is. There's a lot in this box. You want to hear some?
Yeah.
Okay. The story so far, Kyle.
Yep.
It started with a distress signal from Islay as Agent 46 stepped through the time stitch into the distillery. Thick clouds of heavy vapor enveloped her, filling her lungs. Dropping to the ground, she sucked in the clean sea air as a small dog emerged from the gloom. Thinking quickly, she looped her belt through his collar. They fought their way through the thick vapors as he led her to the stillhouse, and a shock discovery. The purifier was gone. The heavy vapors were accumulating and breaching the doors. Instantly, the barking dog seized the hem of Agent 46's copper rein mac in its jaws, pulling her towards the still. Agent 46, a.k.a. Jackie, committee chair and interplanetary detective, knew what had to be done.
What did she do?
In the year 2023, in the time plane dimension known as Planet Ardbeg Day, all will be revealed.
Oh.
So let's reveal it. A missing purifier, a dram forsaken, heavy vapors will arise. Things just got heavy in the Ardverse. Something weird is going down the distillery. The legend purifier, responsible for Ardbeg's exalted balance, is nowhere to be seen, and this whiskey is the consequence. The harmony between peat and floral fruitiness has been disrupted. What have risen are the untamed, darker flavors and notes gathering and filling the senses. It is an ominous dram of dramatic, aromatic pungency.
Ooh.
Intimidating palls of smoke loom large with a lingering, cloying sweetness. A burst of bitter sweetness surges, disturbing ashy coal dust and casting a haze of cardamom. Mentholic eucalyptus rolls in, obscuring the fruit and floral notes usually found at the heart of Ardbeg. In fact, this is the most full-blown Ardbeg ever.
Woo.
Who can restore the balance? Is there a savior of the Ardverse? Drink on to find out.
All right.
Shall we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds great. Woo.
Hey, have your glass, sir?
Straight up purdy. Delightful.
Pete is in the air.
Well done. Well done. And good job on your corks, Ardbeg.
Yeah. Looking at you, Bunaha, them your stupid corks. Man, okay. So what you got on the color?
It's real light.
Straw water.
Yeah.
Like light straw water.
Yeah, like purified straw water.
Yeah. Man, it is just a shade darker than clear.
Yeah.
It is no age statement, so we don't really know how long it's been aged.
Right.
But it is an Isla single malt Scotch whiskey.
What are we looking at on proof?
We got 46.
46.
92. Yeah. So it's not super high.
That's good. I like that.
Okay.
I feel like a Scotch really does kind of sing right around there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never opposed to a cask strength, but it's not 80. That's, which is, I think, important.
Right. From your story.
Yeah.
So there's a missing purifier.
Correct.
An air purifier?
Or a whiskey purifier. I'm not exactly sure.
Like not a, what is it, non-chill filtered. So it's not a filter.
No,
it's a purifier.
But, yeah, it's a purifier. So I'm not exactly
wonder
sure.
Wonder what that means.
Maybe it's a stand-in for filter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the idea is it's not there. This is the full strength version.
Yeah, that's more rugged and
exactly
going to have notes that probably wouldn't normally be there.
So say the Ardbegians.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, on the nose, I think rugged's a good word.
Yeah, rugged is a good word. There's like this really lovely, dark, luscious, fruity note too.
Yeah, and like almost like, dare I say, like past ripe.
Yes.
Like, there's just that sweetness that starts to come like once the browns start coming
you got a peach on the counter. It's just a little soft. Yeah. Or like a plum, like that thing's about to get some white mold on it.
Right.
But like it's still edible.
It's okay right now.
Yeah, but like give it 20 minutes. Like who knows? Exactly.
Like this might have a fly circling it. Getting ready.
I really love the peat on this because it's not as aggressive as I thought it would be.
Not on the nose. No,
definitely
it's
not.
definitely like subdued on the nose.
I mean, you definitely know that it's there, but it's not overpowering.
Yeah, it's not the main feature.
No, definitely not.
Which a lot of the Islas it is.
Right.
It pops right at the beginning, but this and it's a little underneath.
Yeah, but it's not balanced because like you still get it. It's like, it's there, but it's not like it's not super prominent like you said as on other things.
Yeah, and it's a little bit more like earthy.
Yeah,
kind of a peat.
Yeah,
like maybe a in what weird way peat could be fresh, but almost like a fresher peat.
Yeah,
not as danky and
danky's not bad.
You know,
or wet. It doesn't taste as wet.
Like, we hadn't tasted it yet.
Well, no, it doesn't smell as wet. I mean, like when I think peat and the notes that peat can bring out, it's that like it's almost like a wet dank, not like a 420 dank.
It's a
like,
dry dank.
Well, what I mean is that it doesn't smell like basement. Like a basement can be like wet dank.
Sure,
it doesn't smell like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's fresh. It's just not.
It's July peat. It's summertime peat.
Maybe.
It's not wintertime peat.
Okay.
From our experience with Ardbeg, which at this point in time we've had
several,
5, 6 different variations. This one is more herbal.
Herbal's good. Yeah, that makes
This is tiptoeing into the gin herbaliness.
That's a really good point.
On the nose.
Right.
Really complex nose.
Yeah. Enough sniffing time for sipping?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Ooh. That's where I got a hug going on.
Yeah, that's a ride.
Woo! That's where the peat like
man.
That's where the peat sings right there. Wow.
That's really interesting of like first sip, I was hit first by bitter.
Yeah.
Strangely enough, which is not a normal thing.
To me, it's like the peat bitter.
Yeah, like usually you get that at the end. It's usually you go through the sweet expressions and then you're left with the bitter. That one, it was bitter first and then went to sweet and then back to bitter.
Yeah. Yeah, and then for me, back to sweet again. Because right now I've got this like cocoa powder sweetness. Cocoa powder can be both bitter and sweet.
Right.
So it's like you go into that like bitter, sweet, bitter, sweet, and it's just like back and forth.
That's all over the place.
And what I really appreciate about it is as much as the peat was not center note on the nose, it is, to me, formidable on the palate. Like it's not the same kind of peaty note as like you would get in a Lefroy. It's a much more rounded peat, but it's definitely like it's singing.
Yeah, it's like for me. It's attached itself to the oaky bitter, and those things just coast through the whole experience.
Yeah,
together, hand in hand. Like it's not briny or salty.
No, it's earthy.
it's very earthy.
Yeah, it literally like to me it's an expression of what peat actually is, which is like dirt moss.
Yeah, totally.
Like it feels like you went out back, you cut this out of the earth,
right?
And like this is what you're drying and killing your grain with.
Yeah, I mean it's just really interesting. Like it's more woody and like kind of me think in terms of like foresty, not so much like oceanside.
Yeah,
which is just
like
interesting
like,
in and of itself, being that it's Ardbeg.
The woods of like Tennessee, I'm assuming northern Alabama, like after it's rained, but it's cold enough where that rain isn't just like soaked up real quick.
Right.
And it's that smell of the forest.
Yeah.
Like it's just the rain hasn't been soaked up and it's just still there. So it's just kind of sitting there. It smells, earthy.
Wet wood.
Yeah, exactly. Wet wood in a fantastic way. And there's this like beautiful peppery note too. It just kind of like sneaks in there right at the end on the back of the palate. Man.
Yep. Back of your cheeks.
Ooh.
Little pop.
A little pop. Little boop.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm here. Boop.
Yep. Gotcha.
Man. My thing with this is I've liked the releases from Ardbeg that I've had.
Right.
But I have started to notice that they're all kind of in the same general ballpark, with the exception of the Barbecue.
Okay.
Meaning, like, we don't have a bottle of the Corey Reckon or the Anoa, but how would that pair against it?
In my recollection, I feel like the Corey Reckon was definitely more so in the ballpark of the Barbecue in terms of its savoriness.
Yeah.
And it was more close to a savory experience.
Right, yeah.
Not so much fruitiness. Like I remember the Corey Reckon being very briny.
Yeah.
And salty and like being of the sea, where this doesn't give me that at all. This is like a different thing. The Ugadal, I feel like, was closer to this.
Right.
Where it was more focused, I feel like, on sweetness with the peat. Where this is, I feel like, more bitter.
Yeah.
Bitter peat. So like I don't know. Like I kind of get what you're saying, but at the same time I kind of feel like they're all kind of quite different.
Yeah.
And separate.
Okay.
And highlighting different things.
I think what I'm getting out of this too is like every note is dialed at an 11. And like it's all over the place. So like I recognize the box said something about, balance, and I think the bottle said something about balance too. And I don't think it's unbalanced. I just think all of those notes are like jacked up and dialed up. And so like when I'm thinking about those or this in relation to the others, I guess what I'm asking is this bottle was north of 100. Obviously it's harder to find. So am I more apt to buy this or more apt to buy the Corey Reckon or the Ugadal or the Anoa, which is all around roughly that 100 mark?
Right.
It's like, I don't know. So I think here you're paying, like you said, $20 for this box.
Yeah, a lot of money into that box.
You're right. But
it's also the special release aspect of it.
Correct.
Like you'll never get this version of this again.
Right.
Which I think you could also argue about any of their normal releases.
Sure.
I mean, they're going to vary and they're going to change over time. But I think it's like just that this one was specifically put together for last year.
Yeah, for the fish shield last year.
It's just you won't ever get that experience of that specific one again.
Yeah, I can't wait to go to Ardbeg this summer and be like, all right, what y'all got?
Yeah.
Like, I almost think I might take a little dram of this and the Barbecue and be like, all right, let's see what's going on.
And I think, too, like, I keep going back to, like, the oaky bitter mixed with a bitter peat, it almost seems like it is more of like that ashy kind of peat, not like a brighter peat.
Not I don't know. Ashy works. It's like
it's ashy, not smoky.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If that makes any sense.
It does.
I feel like it kind of does. It's more like that you feel like you got it on your tongue and you just can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
And with the oaky bitter and the oaky bitter on this is reminding more of like a really charred oak, not like a fresher, brighter.
Yeah. I totally get what you mean.
All of that. Yeah. All of it's just kind of like, it's just bringing down that bitter note into this like dark bitter.
It does feel darker. It feels a little angrier in some ways.
Yeah, perhaps. Or sadder.
Or sad. But I think it was like I've listened to The Cure. It's and to Depeche Mode. It's like both angrier and sadder at the same time.
I don't know what that means.
I know you don't. There's 3 listeners that do, and that's all I care about.
I reach those people.
You're welcome, you guys. Finally, I've spoken to my
Who was
people.
that comedian that used to do that?
What?
Like that was their shtick. Was like they tried to whittle it down and like keep making references on their joke
it's,
till they got down to like one person finally gets it.
I think it's Jimmy Carr.
Could be.
Or is it what's no, I think it's John Mulaney. It's Jimmy Carr or John Mulaney. They're the same person to me.
Could be Mulaney.
Yeah, it's one of the two. They both wear suits.
Yeah.
It's one of the two.
Yeah. I feel like it might. Mulaney makes sense.
Jimmy Carr is the British John Mulaney.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. So we've got another delicious rendition of Ardbeg.
Thanks, Ardbeg.
Is Ardbeg starting to like perhaps like move up the?
What kind of blasphemy are you saying over there?
It's just a question. I mean, it's
Okay.
not blasphemy. I'm just saying, is it a solid number 2?
It's a solid number 2. Yeah,
Maybe?
for sure.
Maybe?
No, not maybe. It's a solid number 2.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of what we're referring to is the love of the Bunnahaven over the Ardbeg.
You throw the Ardbeg up over Bruichladdich?
I do. Yeah, wow. I do. Because, and it's possibly just because I've had more Ardbeg than I have had Bruichladdich.
I don't know if you've had a bottle of Bruichladdich. You got the Botanist.
I got the Isle of Barley.
No, the Botanist is Bunnahaven.
The Botanist is Bruichladdich.
Yeah, you do have the Isle of Barley. You've never had a Lottie. I've never seen you have Port Charlotte.
Maybe it's just that. Maybe that's the only thing I've had. But I've had a bunch of stuff with you.
For sure.
I don't know. Like, I like Bruichladdich, but Ardbeg hasn't eclipsed Bunnahaven because I love the warming nature of Bunnahaven. Fucking Bunnahaven 12 just crushes.
Yeah, I think it's Bunnahaven 12 is just unfair to the rest of the game, really, because it's for it to be as good as it is, and it's like their baseline.
Exactly. I put it at second because I like what Ardbeg is doing and the boundaries they're pushing, and the variety that they have. But some of them can be more challenging than others. Not that Bunnahaven can't be that way, but I don't know. I got a soft spot for Bunnahaven.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be hard to eclipse Bunnahaven. Anyway, what
were
we
maybe
saying?
maybe a trip there does it.
It might
Just out of any kind of like
or solidifies it, one of the two.
Oh yeah, for sure. Cements it.
Yeah,
makes it the thing.
Anyway, what were you saying?
All right, so we've got a great pour here.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
Okay, if you want.
What should we talk about?
Well, I've got an idea. So I was scanning the Twitter talks and the Insta faces, and I was listening.
While you still can.
Correct. I was listening to, or I stumbled upon a video, kind of listening to a conversation with Justine Bateman. She's a writer and a director. She produces a bunch of stuff. This was like back during the SAG-AFTRA strikes, and she is the current like AI consultant for SAG-AFTRA.
Oh,
yeah, and so. She was, I forget like what the podcast was or like the video series, but they were talking about just kind of the general perspective of AI and where film and television is going and things of that nature.
Right.
And she says something that just really struck a chord with me. And so Bateman says this: I've heard from showrunners who are given notes from streamers being like Netflix, Hulu, so on and so forth, that this isn't second screen enough.
Right.
Meaning the viewer's primary screen is their phone or their laptop, and they don't want anything on the show to distract them from their primary screen. Because if they get distracted, they might look up, be confused, and go turn it off. I heard somebody use this term before. They want a visual muzak. When showrunners are getting notes like that, are they able to do their best work?
Right.
No. So that got me thinking about this idea of the second screen. And just like I went down this rabbit hole, man, of like, whoa, like she's totally right.
Right.
And I think like there's both a positive and a negative side to this.
What was she right about? What did she say that was right?
So she said that what
bad?
she's right is that like that's what people do. The implication is that this is how people watch TV.
Okay.
This is how most people engage with their streamers now.
Okay. Yeah,
streamers, again, Netflix, blah, 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 whatever. In that most people are watching TV, but they're also on their phone at the same time. I mean, I do this. My wife does this. Everybody's doing this.
Yep.
My attention is bifurcated between my phone and the TV.
Sure. And
like I can only really pay attention to one thing or another.
Right.
So,
I mean, to a degree.
I don't know. Like
multitasking is a pretty common term.
Yeah, and we are terrible at it. like humans in general are like phenomenally atrocious at multitasking.
Not saying we're great at it. I'm just saying we've got precedent of it's been a thing for a long time.
Yeah. It's definitely been a thing for a long time. And I think that's what she's talking about, is that like people who are creating shows are having to dumb down their shows as much as possible so that people who are watching, and I guess like this really is like documentaries or like things like, or I see it most in documentaries, things like true crime kind of stuff of like, there's a loose narrative. There's information, but like the thing is not difficult to follow,
right? Because
I need to just pay attention enough to like make the me watching the thing worthwhile.
Okay.
I'm just struck by
it put a thorn in your craw.
I'm not from Alabama. What does that mean?
Oh, it bothered you.
Yeah. Well, no, it recalls what everything does for me. That self-reflection of like that's exactly, that is me in that instance of like almost like how sad that like these showrunners, these people who are putting their heart and soul into some of these shows,
right,
are being told like, now your show's too smart. Dumb your show down.
I mean, I suppose, but I feel like at the same time, it's like there's a time and place, I guess. You want the thing to be made.
Right.
Like, certainly if this is a passion project that you can't waver on your idea,
right,
then maybe don't pitch it as any other way. I mean, it's kind of the hard part about being creative in that way, that if somebody else is now funding your creativity,
right,
you have to be willing to accept that criticism to make what they want,
or risk it not being made,
or risk upsetting the person who's paying for it.
Right.
Having grown up in a creative family, I have very clear memories of when I was very young. My dad was an airbrush artist and would paint something to where he liked it, and would have somebody then view it and be like, "Nah, I don't like it anymore." And so that's always going to be a tough thing between artist and
patron.
Yeah. Like that's always going to be the conversation of, well, I'm paying for this,
right?
And if I'm looking for visual music, and I've agreed to buy your pitch,
right,
to satisfy that need on my platform, right, that's tough.
Yeah.
And certainly, but I think, any creative person, artist, songwriter, director, like anybody's going to have plenty of stories that will go along with that in terms of, I had this great vision for this thing, but they only had so much money.
Right.
And so I had to back off my idea and fit their budget, kind of a thing. Interior designer, architect, like, there's always going to be those things of like, well, we've only got this much money,
so do what you can with this much.
Right. And so it just sounds like in this instance, it's not so much about money. It's more about, no, we've got a specific visual intrigue that we're trying to keep people on the platform, which is a whole different issue that sucks.
I think that's where I'm going with it too. It's like it's this, we need to keep people here, so your thing that you actually care about, it needs to be dumb enough to keep people here. Right. Because like nobody, like, there are people that care about it, but most people are watching their phones primarily. So your thing needs to be second screen. Your thing needs to be easy to follow. Your thing needs to just keep them here.
Right.
So if you need to water it down, do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what she's talking about, is that like the issue being, well, then the creative who's doing these things is going to be kind of pushed out maybe in some way, because like, I mean, you could very easily make a computer program, make these kind of things.
Oh yeah.
I recognize that's a larger discussion.
We'll be there.
Here.
We'll be there soon.
Sure. But then I think like on the other side, it's almost a positive in that, well, then make your thing interesting enough to put the phone down, which is a whole nother set of problems. Like, what becomes interesting enough that like you put the phone down and watch that thing only?
To me personally, I see both sides. I see there are absolutely things that I put on. I put on X-Men 97 every Wednesday, and I don't have anything around me.
Right.
And I'm watching that shit with Lorelai.
Sure.
And we deep dive into it, and then we immediately go and we like watch people's reviews on it, and we go hard onto X-Men 97.
Yeah.
But we watched Ratatouille
not
that long ago. I've seen Ratatouille 30, 40 times.
Yeah.
It can just be on in the background, and I don't have to pay attention. I can jump in and out.
Sure.
See my funny part. Wait. Rewind that really quick. Okay. I love it when he does that.
Yeah.
And that's how we watch those movies.
Sure.
But if it's brand new stuff and it's something that I'm excited about, like there's nothing around me and there's nothing that's going to interrupt me. And like, to be honest, like Maria knows, like, oh, y'all about to do okay, so I'm going to go lay down then.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't, even want to like be in the room because she knows like that's what we're going to be doing.
Right.
So on the viewer side of it, there's so little things that I would put on as second screen that I'm watching for the first time.
Yeah, but
that seems strange to me.
I think though I think
my
that's
second
just
screen.
You.
Really?
I don't think it's just you, but I think like that's. I mean, my perspective included. Like I think that's maybe people like us because like the majority of people, they're not putting down. They are putting on something that they actually want to watch, and they're on their phone. Like my wife does this. Like she will like put on something that she actually wants to care about.
Okay.
And she will get on her phone.
I get it. That for me is British Bake Off.
Right.
Like I'll put on British Bake Off to want to see what happens and stuff, but I'm not paying attention the whole time.
Right.
I'm jumping in and out.
Well, like, okay, like my wife likes crime documentaries.
Yeah.
And I've been in the room when she's watching these crime documentaries. I'm not paying attention at all.
Right.
But I can still follow it. And like, she's interested and invested in this thing, and we have almost the same experience, and I don't care.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's the same kind of story over and over again. And like, yes, this is true crime. These are real people's lives, but like, it's the same story.
Right.
And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like the comfort food kind of perspective.
Yeah.
Like you just said of the Bake Off, it's like, okay, so I know this story, even though I don't know this story.
Right.
I know the story.
Right.
So maybe that's what it is. But it to me, maybe it's because like the way I view media and this kind of storytelling, and I'm not saying like I hold it to anything sacred necessarily, but it's like this idea of chipping, or how much are we chipping away at our versions of attention? I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing or a bad thing, but like people are getting stuff that's made and then they're being told, just make it dumb. Or
and if that's the case, yeah, travesty. And like unfortunate, but like still I would think like the right approach is still make it as best as you can to your quality, but at the same time like don't, like you still kind of have to do what the
patron or the person paying for it,
what they want,
right?
So like don't burn bridges and don't just blow up about it, but also like don't be willing to like back off on your integrity for yourself, which can be an absolutely tricky thing to do.
I think it almost speaks to a larger kind of perspective of how we engage in our versions of entertainment and our versions of like lives too, because how many times have you been to dinner? Have I been to dinner? Have we been to dinner? Have we been to dinner together where like we're all sitting there, but we're all on our phones?
Sure.
Or so like we're a part of a conversation together, we're eating together, we're talking, and yet we're also not fully there either.
Right.
And like what does that do? And I mean, I don't know. I don't have an answer for this, but what does that do to like the larger kind of perception of that time together, or that meal, or those relationships, and I'm not just saying like you and I, but like as a whole, how many people do we see out and about where they're at dinner or they're with friends, but they're not fully there? Right. And I think that just speaks to that as well. Like you're watching the show, but you're not fully there.
Yeah.
But you're also not fully engaging in the social media or whatever it is either.
Yeah.
Like so many things, I don't think there's an answer. I don't think there's necessarily a right or a wrong. It's just like that. How are we doing this? What are we being fed? What are we being given? How are we engaging in media that we even maybe purport to like?
As somebody that doesn't really mind music, I don't feel like just the idea of visual music being like an absolute negative. And I guess it's just kind of like, as the creator of the thing, are you okay with it? And I guess if it is a passion project that you've been fighting to get made for so many years, and a streaming service finally agreed to greenlight it, and then they came to you with those kinds of things, like that would absolutely be demoralizing.
Oh, yeah,
crushing. For sure. But at that point in time, you have to decide, all right, well, I could dumb it down, and then hopefully I'm going to build a career a career that will allow me to make it in its glory, or fuck, I'm just going to come up with something better.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to break down like, yes, it's unfortunate that this is what's going to be the end result of this idea that I had, but I'll make something better someday.
Foot in the door. I have the foot in the door. Let me prove what I can with this.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Use it as a springboard.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you got anything else?
No.
Not me neither.
No, that's a good one, though.
You want to go watch some mindless TV for a minute?
Sure.
All right. Well, let's end this episode and then we'll go do that.
That's a good idea.
Well, we'd love to know, what do you think about the Ardbeg special release, the Heavy Vapours?
Yeah. What's your favorite Ardbeg that you've ever had?
Oh, yeah. And more importantly, what's an Ardbeg that we haven't had that we should have?
Yeah. Don't say scorched. It's like a $300 bottle.
Unless you want to give it to us.
Yeah, unless you got some.
Or the Hypernova. Or the Supernova.
Supernova.
Or the Ardbeg. Or, any other.
And that's
sort of
still what
relation.
blows my mind of that freaking Bizarre Barbecue being so damn good.
Yeah.
But it was like the cheapest one of them all.
I know.
Crazy.
Whatever. Thanks, Ardbeg. We also want to know, what do you think about this idea of the second screen?
Yeah.
Or something being second screen or not second screen enough?
Tell us, what is your favorite second screen viewing pleasure?
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's definitely Bake Off for me.
Is
man.
it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can put that on and just like, it's just playing.
Sure.
And like I'll pay attention every once in a while, but for the most part, I'm doing something else.
I can tell you, for me, it's like the first 48.
I don't even know. What the States? Like the History Channel?
No, it's a crime thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's my wife's favorite too.
The lower 48. No,
Maybe.
that doesn't make sense either.
And it's crime stuff. Put it on.
Cram stuff.
You put it on and you don't really have to pay attention. At least I don't pay attention.
Sure.
So I think that's it for me.
Okay.
Well, you can get in contact with us through email. It's drippingstone@gmail.com. You can also get in contact with us through social media.
Yeah, we like to socialize some medias. It's one word, Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone. You find us on social media. See all the cool stuff that we're doing and making, like it, comment on it.
Yeah.
Share it.
And do that while you're watching the other things.
That can be your first screen
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
while you're using your second
There's
screen.
a lot of like really good pairings going on.
Absolutely.
Some fun bottle picks.
bottle picks. What's a bottle pick?
That's a picture of a
Is that a
bottle.
new? Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
what are you talking
Like
about?
we're picking bottles?
Not well. I mean, picking bottles.
Picture of a bottle.
Pictures of bottles. There's also, it's just some really fun things going on there. So leave what'd you say? Like a comment.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And we'd appreciate it if you support the podcast. You can do so by rating Drep and Stone, whatever it is you find great podcasts like this one.
Just like this one.
You can also use our Flaviar code to get you a bottle of something special.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's DSP10. Saves you a bit of money.
Disp.
Disp
10.
10. Flaviar.com. You can also support us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/DrepandStone.
Yep.
Leave us a couple bucks there. Helps keep all the things running that we need to keep running.
Absolutely.
And finally, Kyle,
Yeah.
you can support Drep and Stone by telling someone about the podcast.
Yeah.
It's free.
Tell a social worker.
It's simple.
Tell a police officer.
And it's effective.
Tell your favorite teacher.
On that note, hey, buddy,
Hey, buddy.
may your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Give me a check.
Check. Check 1, 2.
Yeah.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4.
Perfect. Now, hang on.
You look like butthead.
He ain't bottled up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's hot, Pete. That was a hard cheer.
hard cheer. I got scared for a second.
I was like, shit.